everyone's living under an inquisition, so things can always get worse.
Into Ferrocrete and the disappearance of an Arbites precinct in the dead of night. Gregor told himself
precinct?
it was distant,
That's
that it
bad.
had nothing to do with him. But he knew better. The Hive itself seemed to groan with unease, its ancient structure creaking under the weight of untold corruption.
Of course.
Routine became his only shield. Gregor buried himself in the monotonous work of
What else can anyone do?
tithe reports, hoping that the act
What
of
else can one do?
compiling numbers would drown out the rising tide of madness. But even this meager solace began to falter.
Of course.
The data seemed wrong. Entire
Skewed.
shipments were missing from the records.
Of course.
Their entries replaced with cryptic notations that defied understanding. Gregor's quill hovered over a particularly baffling line.
400 units claimed in his radiant shadow.
What?
What does that even mean?
He muttered, his voice barely audible. Across the cogitator array, Bors glanced up with
There's a probability that some of these workers were possessed by the cult or has been taken in with the cult.
bloodshot eyes.
You've seen them too, haven't you? The strange entries.
Gregor nodded.
No,
reluctantly.
deny, defend, depose.
Errors, most likely.
Errors.
Bors snorted, his laugh hollow.
Errors don't slaughter Abidi squads or leave hexagrammic runes carved into supply grids. This is heresy, Tallow. It's everywhere.
Keep
The
your
entire
voice down,
planet's gonna die.
Gregor hissed, glancing nervously around the vault. A nearby clerk gave them a curious look before returning to his work.
Ice
Bors
back to
leaned
work.
in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper.
They're here, in the upper levels now. You think the Inquisitor's just poking around for sport?
Ah,
He knows something's brewing.
exactly.
Emperor preserve us.
He won't.
That evening, Gregor found himself drawn back to Hab District 43. He told himself it was madness that returning to the site of the ritual could
Yeah, that was a
only
bad
bring
idea.
disaster. But some compulsion drove him forward. A gnawing need to see if the darkness he had witnessed was still festering in the shadows. The district was eerily quiet,
Of course.
the usual hum of hive life replaced by a suffocating quiet. The alleys
I mean, he definitely knows that going back to this place was a bad idea, but I guess something's throwing our boy back in.
were empty, their walls scarred with deep gouges that looked almost deliberate. Gregor clenched his coat tighter as he pressed on, his footsteps echoing unnaturally loud. When he reached the square, his breath caught in his throat. The shattered Aquila still loomed, but the space beneath
Shattered Aquila.
had changed. The stains were gone, replaced by a mosaic of symbols carved directly into the ferrocrete. They twisted and writhed in the dim light, their shapes defying logic. Gregor felt his stomach churn just looking at them.
You shouldn't have come back.
The voice startled
But he
him,
did.
and he spun around to see a figure emerge from the shadows. It was one of the robed cultists, his face obscured by a hood. But this was no furtive skulk. The man stood tall and proud, his presence radiating a chilling confidence.
I didn't mean...
Gregor stammered, his words faltering as the cultist raised a hand.
There's no need to lie to me, drone. The Hive's
Drone?
grind wears us all down. But some of us find freedom in the truth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess if you're stuck in this kind of place, if you're stuck in this kind of life, I mean, these are men grasping at straws. So anything that would offer an escape or some reprieve from the monotony or from this hell would be better than continuing.
Gregor said, stepping back. The cultist chuckled, a low, guttural sound.
You saw us, didn't you?
Yes, he
That
did.
night. You think you escaped unnoticed, but the eyes of the gods see all. You've been marked.
Gregor felt
He was
his
drawn
legs
back to it, so he
trembling,
definitely
his back
was.
pressing against the cold wall of the alleyway.
I don't want anything to do with you. I just want to go home.
He whispered.
There is no home.
The cultist said, his voice almost pitying.
Not in the Imperium, not in this rotting carcass of a hive. Only the gods can offer you sanctuary. The Prince of Pleasure. The Lord of Change.
Oh no.
The Blood God. The Great Decay.
Oh, so all of
They
them.
have watched you, Gregor Tallow, and they offer salvation.
Gregor's heart sank as the cultist's voice grew fervent. He knew these names, not from the ecclesiarchy's summons, but from whispered warnings and forbidden texts.
There we go.
The ruinous powers. Chaos.
I'll never.
Gregor's words caught in his throat as the cultist stepped
But then again, stay in this life, or try your luck with the other side.
closer.
I mean, if this is the best that the God Emperor has to offer, check this out, right? If this is the best that the God Emperor has to offer, maybe the Chaos Gods can offer something else. Those political officers, their versions of political officers. Baelai, what do you call him again? Those political officers. Like, would you rather die from a Tyranid, or would you rather die with a bullet to the back of the head? The bullet to the back of the head is more painless.
His eyes glinting with an unnatural light.
You already have.
The man said softly, gesturing to the symbols on the ground.
You return.
I mean, in this universe, there is no right answer.
You heard their call. You felt it, haven't you? The hollowness in your...
There was this theory, I forgot where I picked it from or where I actually read it, about whether or not you're fighting for the right side. And the theory was that just look at the superficial features, just look at the surface level. Do you want to be a part of that surface level? That's why in the film, Doctor Strange, the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, right? When Hannibal, the actor who played Hannibal Lecter, was working for Dormammu, Strange simply said, just look at your face, man. Is that what you want to be? So, question is this what you want to be?
Soul, the yearning for something greater. You are one of us now, whether you admit it or not.
Gregor bolted. He ran until his lungs burned, his surroundings blurring into indistinct shadows. By the time he reached his hab unit, he was drenched in sweat and shaking violently. As he slammed the door shut, he slid to the floor, his mind racing with fragments of the cultist's words. Sleep was impossible. Every creak
I doubt
of
it
the
would
metal
be.
walls, every distant clang of machinery felt like the approach of something malevolent. He spent the night pacing.
I mean, at this point, it's a rock in a hard place. Inquisitor would definitely torture you first before they kill you, and you don't exactly know what's going to happen if you go with the Chaos.
Muttering prayers to the Emperor, yet feeling no solace in their words. By morning, the Hive was ablaze with panic. The Inquisition had declared martial law.
Ah, there we
Lumen
go. They're
strips
all dead!
flickered red,
Called it!
and Vox
They're all
announcements
dead!
blared through the corridors.
By decree of the Holy Inquisition, all citizens are subject to immediate inspection. Non-compliance will result in summary execution.
Gregor's heart sank as he stepped into the chaos. RPG's enforcers patrolled in squads, their shock molds crackling with energy. Workers huddled in lines for inspection,
There
their
we go.
faces pale with fear. In the distance,
See, the problem with this kind of martial law is that what exactly are they inspecting? What exactly are they looking for? At best, this whole thing is an insurgency.
he could hear the sharp crack of a las pistol, followed
There we
by
go.
muffled screams. As he made his way to the vaults, Every step felt heavier, his every breath a struggle. He knew it was only a matter of time before the noose tightened fully. He could feel the hive buckling under the weight of its corruption, the darkness he had witnessed spreading like a plague. And above it all, the shadow of the Inquisitor loomed, a harbinger of doom that Gregor knew he could not escape. The hive was unraveling, the little semblance of order Territus Primus had clung to now dissolved into chaos. The martial law imposed by the Inquisition had heightened the terror. Workers abandoned their stations, hab blocks descended into anarchy. Albiti's patrols struggled to maintain control, their efforts punctuated by the sporadic flashes of gunfire
so the whole thing's
and the
kicking off now.
screams of those who resisted. The air was thick with smoke and dread, a suffocating
The problem with the whole Inquisition is they're using a hammer to dissect a body.
pall that seemed to seep into the very ferocrete of the hive. Gregor Tallow wandered through it all like a ghost. Days had ceased to hold meaning, time an endless procession of fear and confusion. He avoided the main thoroughfares, skirting along shadowed alleys and derelict corridors,
Of course he did.
each step drawing him further from the safety of routine. He didn't know where he
I mean, what was that saying? If they weren't rebels, they are now.
was going. He only knew that staying still felt like surrender.
I read somewhere like the government was like the government is usually the biggest recruiter for insurgents in situations like these because of heavy-handed tactics that would exacerbate the situation. I mean, they're shooting into the populace, so those on the fence would definitely know which side they'll land on.
The summons came at the height of the hive's collapse. Arbiti's enforcers found him in the vaults, their expressions grim as they hauled him from his station without a word.
There we
He
go.
was too numb to resist, his body moving mechanically as they dragged him through the sprawling
If he wasn't a
corridors to
cultist, he
holding
is
chamber
now.
deep within subsector 19. The room was stark and cold, its walls bare save for the sigil of the Inquisition etched above a single iron chair. Gregor was thrust into the chair, the Arbites stepping back to stand guard by the door. Moments later, the Inquisitor entered. His presence was suffocating. Clad in dark robes that seemed to drink in the dim light, the Inquisitor moved with the deliberate grace of a predator. His face
There we
was
go.
pale and gaunt, his eyes burning.
Notice the Darth Vader like visage of how he fills up the room. The all black, the skulls. Yep. Darth Vader.
With a fervor that made Gregor
Visual.
feel exposed, as though every secret he had ever harbored lay bare before him.
You have been marked.
The Inquisitor said, his voice a
Marked
low
for what?
rumble that reverberated.
Why? How
through the
did he get
chamber.
chosen?
It was not a question.
I don't know what you
I'm pretty sure everyone that was suspected has been followed.
mean.
Gregor croaked, his voice barely audible. The Inquisitor's gaze sharpened and he leaned in close.
Do not lie to me, drone. You were seen in Hab District 43. You were
Again, he
seen
was drawn.
watching. Tell me what you know.
Gregor's breath hitched, his mind racing. Should he confess? Would admitting his encounter with
See, I've always wondered that multiple studies have been done that torturing people usually doesn't work. Because at a certain point, they'll just tell you what you want to hear. Because fine, he'll, like for example, Gregor will definitely tell the truth. But question is will the Inquisitor be convinced of the truth before he starts pulling off his fingernails? Probably not.
the cultists save him or only hasten his death. The memory of their chanting, the grotesque effigy, surged to the forefront of his thoughts, and he felt bile rise to his throat.
I didn't see anything.
He stammered, tears welling in his eyes.
I swear it, my lord.
The Inquisitor's eyes
Of course not.
narrowed. For a moment, the room was deathly silent. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he gestured to one of the Arbites. The enforcer stepped forward,
there we go.
producing a slender device that crackled with electricity.
Lies.
The Inquisitor said, his voice cold as the void.
The truth is not a choice, Tallow. It is an obligation.
There we go.
When Gregor finally broke, his voice was hoarse and trembling. He told them everything about the cultists, their chanting, the symbols carved into the ferrocrete.
Now he's told them everything. Is it enough? Would they be convinced to let him go? Probably not. Would they even believe the truth that he told them?
As he spoke, the Inquisitor's expression darkened, his features tightening into a mask of grim determination.
Heretics.
The Inquisitor muttered.
Their corruption runs deeper than I feared.
Gregor sagged in his chair, his confession spilling out in a torrent of half-coherent words. But even as he spoke, he felt no relief, only a growing sense of despair. He had told the truth, yet he knew it would not save him. In the eyes of the Inquisition, ignorance was no excuse, and contact with heresy was tantamount to guilt. When he had finished...
What was that line? Evidence of innocence is not... Anyways, can someone please put it down in that comment? Like, what was the line about innocence, that proof of innocence is not enough or something?
The Inquisitor stepped back, his gaze appraising.
You have served your purpose, Drone. Your life has no further value.
Gregor's heart sank.
Please!
He begged, falling to his
Our
knees.
man wanted to live.
I didn't.
The Inquisitor raised a hand, silencing him.
Your body may be impure, but your knowledge will serve the
it's not it.
Emperor. You will be given to the Ordo's interrogators. They will learn what you cannot remember.
Before Gregor could protest, the Arbites dragged him from the chamber, their grips unyielding. He screamed, pleaded, but their faces were masks of indifference. Hours later, from a distant holding cell, Gregor felt the hive itself shudder. The vibrations coursed through the walls, a low, bone-deep rumble that seemed to carry the weight of inevitability. Somewhere high above,
There we go.
the Inquisition had delivered its final judgment.
Wait, is this the thing where they consign 1 billion souls to the thing where they destroy an entire planet?
Terratus Primus, and all the billions who inhabited it, had been deemed irredeemably tainted.
There we
The
go.
orbital fleet had received its orders. The executioner's weapon of choice? Cyclonic torpedoes. Gregor never saw the firestorm that engulfed the hive.
There
He
we
never
go.
felt the searing heat or the crushing shockwave.
Called it.
When
They
the
were all
first
dead from the
torpedo
beginning.
struck, the entire hive disintegrated in an instant, reduced to molten slag and ash. The blast wave rippled outward, consuming the planet's surface in a tide of destruction. From orbit, the
Called it.
planet glowed briefly, a flickering ember in the void, before falling silent. In the cold vacuum of space, the Inquisitor stood aboard the command deck of his flagship, his gaze fixed on the dying world below. His expression was unreadable, his thoughts inscrutable. One of his aides approached, bowing deeply. "The planet is no more, my lord.
Of
The
course.
taint of chaos has been purged." The Inquisitor nodded,
What's the point
his
of that?
voice calm and detached.
A necessary sacrifice.
Was it?
May their souls find redemption in death.
He
No,
turned away, his
all souls
cloak
go back
billowing
to
as he
chaos.
strode towards the bridge's exit. The Imperium was vast, and the fight against heresy unending. There would always be another hive, another world, another battle.
Of course.
And so the wheels of the Emperor's will ground on, unyielding
Holy crap.
and merciless.
That was depressing.
Recording archived. Data entry subscript. Consumed by the Hive. User engagement protocols activated. Input required. Initiate like, execute, subscribe, or
I will.
vocalize commendation in the
As
commentary
willed
channel.
by the Emperor.
Compliance increases algorithmic reach. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys. Now, if you want me to check out other stories here on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. We upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. Please like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And don't forget to check out our Twitch channel where you can catch me do this live. Now, class dismissed.